So tonight is a free class sponsored by my one of my companies called Flight Deck. I want to talk about how to turn your pain into profit, and we're going to talk specifically how you can take your life's experiences, for better or for worse, and we're going to turn those into a profitable digital side hustle. That could be opening up a Shopify store and doing drop shipping. That could be starting a course or a membership site. It could be a lot of different things, but it's going to be a digital side hustle, which you could earn $100 a month doing, or $1,000 a month, or $10,000 a month. So let me just dive in here. My promise to you is I'm going to share with you the 4 key things that you need that anyone can use to start their own digital side hustle. And so I'm gonna sort of give you the keys to the castle here. I'm gonna tell you the 4 things that you need, and what you do with that is up to you. But that is my promise to you, is to share those with you. Now, here is a picture of the Tolson family. Sarah and I just celebrated 26 years of marriage. Our son, Todd III, is a recent graduate from the University of California, San Diego, where he graduated magna cum laude as an English literature major. Whatever he's going to do with that. My daughter, Hannah, recently graduated from cosmetology school, and we all live together under one big happy roof. In addition to what I do with the businesses that I'm involved in, I've been a career pastor, 28 years in vocational ministry, which means that was my career. That's what I did. I've had every job in the church that you can have, and have planted 3 churches. And so, as you might imagine, just in case you're not aware of how this works, the pastor's salary is tied to the financial health of the church. And the church is a not-for-profit organization, meaning it is at the mercy of the generosity of its donors. So, there might be a couple of months during the year, like say December, when everyone's feeling generous, that you might do okay. But in May or June, it's pretty slim pickings out there. So I planted 3 churches from the ground up, and when you start out, there's just no money in the church, and so we had planted a church in San Diego that was for a while the fastest growing church in East San Diego, and we had all kinds of people coming. We met at an old bar, which was kind of a historical landmark in our little town of Santee, and we loved it for sure. But I remember one particular day, Sarah and I had flown to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sarah had a conference that she was going to. It was actually a business conference, and so my job was to chauffeur her to this conference, and then I was either going to drive around Tulsa or go back to the hotel. And it was one of those mornings I had woken up and it was just kind of angsty. I don't know if that word resonates with you or not, but I was just feeling kind of angsty, and so I had dropped Sarah off at the arena where this big conference was in Tulsa, and I called a friend of mine who was pastoring a church in Riverside, California, so about an hour and a half northeast of where I was in San Diego. And he and I had met up at another conference. He was going, and I just met him there for dinner. And he kind of, in hushed tones, was telling me that he had recently stumbled onto this digital e-commerce business called dropshipping. And so you build a site and you promote a product that is sourced, could be from the United States, could be from somewhere in Europe, could be in China, and they handle all of the packaging and shipping to the customer. And that this was towards the end of the year, and he had done, like, between the end of October through December, had done about $250,000. And I was like, man, I got into the wrong business. And so I remembered that while I'm driving around in Tulsa. And so I called up my friend. I said, man, I'm desperate. I'm angry. Like, I love my job. I love the people at my church. I love the fact that I get to fulfill my calling. But, I got two really smart kids that are going to want to go to college, and I can't help them, right? I've got this notion that one day, I'm going to retire from being a pastor. Like, even if I did pastoring for the rest of my life, there's going to come a day where I need to hand it off to somebody else. And then what am I going to do? I mean, churches don't usually offer like 401ks or, matching funds, right? There's no retirement there, right? And I said, you've got to help me. I want to learn how to do what you do. And just, from the grace of a friend, pointed me to some YouTube videos. And over that weekend, while Sarah was at a conference, I built my first Shopify store. And it was called the Shopper's Choice. It's ridiculous. And my product, as you can see on the screen here, was a lipstick-shaped women's razor. That was the only product I had. And so I hustled to get this store done. And then Sarah and we packed up the hotel and we drove to the airport. And just before I left the hotel, I pushed publish on the store. I launched my first Facebook ad ever. We got on the plane from Tulsa going back to San Diego. And the moment I landed, and they say, hey, you can turn your phone on, from like airplane mode, I got this ding. And I got one sale. And, I think I was selling for like 12 or 14 bucks, whatever it was. I just remember my first sale, I profited at $7.14. And I'll tell you what, I was absolutely addicted because I'm like, I can do this. I can do this, and I can still pastor. I can still love my church folk. I can still reach my community with hope. And I can do this. And so I went from razors to kitchen supplies to video game systems. And in about 3 months, I had brought in about $10,000 in revenue. Now, I can promise you, in the 3 months working at the church, I did not bring in $10,000 in revenue for my family. And so I was like, I think I could probably do this full time and like eventually like just volunteer at my church. And so I called my friend and I went up to Riverside. Actually, I paid him $1,000. I said, just teach me everything you know. I had to beg, borrow, and steal that $1,000, by the way. Paid it back a week later. And he said, here's the thing about drop shipping. You're always looking for the next product. And he says, like, you already have a product. I'd written a little field guide, a little pamphlet to help some pastors out. And he said, you can turn that into a business. And so with his help, I did do that. And in the first year, we brought in $100,000. Now, for some people, when I say that, that sounds like, oh my gosh, like $100,000 for a side hustle. I mean, I would love to do $100,000. And the funny thing is, the more I talk to people that are in the digital space, I realize like how little that number is. But my story, the reason that I got into digital side hustles came from a place of frustration and desperation. And the chances are Some of you watching this right now would probably resonate with that. And so I call this webinar Turning Your Pain into Profit. And a lot of people in this space talk about turning your passions into profits. You know, I mean, if you've got a passion for journaling, you can profit from that, right? You got a passion for digital tablets, you can profit from that, right? If you've got a passion for office supplies, you can profit from that. Here's my problem with that line of thinking. We have turned the word passion into this catch-all word that really doesn't even mean anything. Case in point, we do this with the word love. In one sentence, I could say, I love my wife. And everybody here would know what I meant by that. And in the very next sentence, I could say, I also love tacos. Now, those are two true statements, but the word love in both of those sentences do not mean the same thing. And passion has become this catch-all word that just means anything that I'm like really interested in. You know, you can talk to people about Ford versus Chevy, and there will be an emotional debate about that, because people are passionate about Mustangs, or people are passionate about Corvettes. You know, you can say that you're passionate about the sport. You know, I coached football for 20 years. You know, I'm passionate about football. You can say you're passionate for your favorite team, but that's actually not what the word passion means at all. The word passion comes from a Latin word, passio, which literally means suffering. Now, the way that we have sort of changed the word, passion means something I just like a whole lot. But when the word was actually created, it means pain. It means suffering. And so the question that I want you to start wrapping your head around right now is it's really twofold. And the first question is this: what do you love so much that you would be willing to suffer for it? What do you love so much you'd be willing to endure pain because of it? Okay, and you could say, like, hey, I mean, some people are passionate about their fitness, right? Some people can be passionate about their car. I mean, I'll go walk the neighborhood Saturday morning, and someone's waxing their Camaro or their wheels until their arm falls off. They love that car so much they're willing to suffer because of it. What are you passionate about? What do you love so much that you would be willing to suffer for it? Let me ask a different question. What have you been through in your life? Let's see, this is the bigger question. What pain have you experienced? What pain have you endured in your life that you have overcome, that you can now help someone else through? So on one hand, what do you love so much you'd be willing to suffer for it? On the other hand, what pain have you gone through that you can now help others through? Wherever those answers intersect, that's your passion. That's your passion. And so, can you profit from your passion? Absolutely. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to turn your pain into profit. And there are 4 things, 4 keys that you need to start a digital side hustle that will turn your pain into profit. And in the first section here, you need an audience. You need an audience. Now, and we'll talk about that in a second, but an audience is about serving the people that you resonate with the most. It's about serving the people you resonate with the most. You need an audience. The second thing that you need is an offer. What are you going to offer them? You need your offer needs to provide so much value that people would actually feel dumb if they said no. Okay. And so you need to have an offer. The third thing is marketing. And this one actually scares people a little bit, but believe it or not, it's easier than ever to get the word out to the people who were already looking for what it is that you have to offer. And then the fourth thing that you need the right tools. You know, there are some people that are watching this and you're millennials or younger, and you can't remember a time, you know, younger millennials, maybe you can't remember a time where your life didn't involve technology. Yeah, I'm Gen X, and I remember a barren land of no technology. I remember the first computer that my dad built because you had to build them yourselves. And then we live today. I'm operating 5 different screens in my little office right now. And so some of you that are watching this are scared of technology. And so some of you need the tools to learn how to build your digital side hustle. Some of you need the tools to actually do the building. Okay. And those are 2 different sets of tools. So let's break down each of these specifically. Let's talk about the first key to a digital side hustle, your audience. It's about serving the people you resonate with the most. Now, the first side hustle I did, I brought in $10,000 over 3 months, which is pretty good. But again, I was selling products that I didn't use to an audience I didn't resonate with. Now, this right here is why so many people struggle in multi-level marketing opportunities. It's not that the MLM is bad, but when you get the wrong person acting as an ambassador for a company that offers a product to an audience that the ambassador doesn't resonate with, that person is always going to come off as salesy and schmarmy and slimy. And nobody wants to do business with that kind of person. So I had some success, but it wasn't going to be long-term success because I could not resonate with the audience. Now, the second side hustle, I was walking in my audience's shoes. I was a pastor. I started a digital side hustle for pastors, solving some of their biggest pain points, because guess what? I knew what those pain points were. I lived through those pain points. I overcame those pain points, and I was able to turn around and say, hey, if you've got this problem, I got a solution for you. When you match who you are to the audience that you are trying to serve, you are about as limitless as you can be. It's about serving. It's about understanding the pain, the passion that your audience is going through. In fact, some have said that your best audience is you 3 to 5 years ago. I love John Maxwell wrote several phenomenal books, but one of them being the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And in that book, he talks about the law of magnetism. He says, you don't attract who you want, you attract who you are. That's what the law of magnetism is. You don't attract who you want, you attract who you are. Your audience, your best audience is you. 3 to 5 years ago, you understand that person better than anybody else. You understand their hurts, their habits, their hangups. You are uniquely qualified to help that audience. And so when you think about your passion, the pain that you have been through, I want you to get your head wrapped around who is my audience. All right. The second key is your offer. And we talked about you need to provide so much value that a person would feel dumb if they actually said no. And so at the core of your offer, you need to solve a problem. In fact, let me help you with this. Some products or services go in the nice to have category. They might even go into a luxury category. And that's great. There are some people that want to shop for the nice to have or the luxury item. But when you're just introducing yourself with an offer to an audience, you want to be able to solve their biggest problem. People are happy to pay to have their biggest problems solved. And so that's why my second side hustle took off the way that it did. I was able to identify, half a dozen of the biggest problems that certain pastors and certain churches deal with on a daily basis. And I was able to give them a 6-step, coach them through a 6-step solution to solve those problems in a certain order. So when you're thinking about what kind of offer, okay, and by the way, I mean, it could be an ebook, right? It could be an online course. Hey, I'm gonna get my phone out and I'm gonna record 6 videos that will, help someone potty train their toddler. I mean, for those of you that have lived through that, you know what a pain it is. If maybe you grew up without a dad in the house, and you had to learn how to do things around the house the hard way. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from taking your phone and recording how to fix a garbage disposal, how to change the oil in a car, how to mow the lawn, right? These are problems that young men would have. And honestly, it would be the mother of these young men who would want to get this step-by-step course to help their teenage or preteen son. Okay, so you want to make sure that you solve a problem. But when you're thinking through your offer, there's 3 levels I want you to think through. And the first level is the do it yourself level. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to point in the direction that you need to go. And it's up to you to figure it out, right? Here's the tools, you go, you do it yourself. Okay. And that is a inexpensive way to solve a problem. I mean, I've got, best book I read last year by a guy named Dan Martell called Buy Back Your Time. I don't know, this was 25, 30 bucks. But if I wanted to meet with Dan Martell in person, would have been $10,000, $50,000. Okay. So the do it yourself level it's going to be an inexpensive way to solve somebody. Let me tell you how to do it and you do it yourself. Now, the next level higher than that is what's called done with you. This is more of a coaching type relationship. Maybe you meet weekly, maybe you meet monthly, and you give some instructions. They go and do it. They come back, they tell you how it went, and you coach them up. This is something that we're going to do together. That's a lot more expensive than a do-it-yourself option. Okay, and then the most expensive option would be the done for you option. I mean, if you think about painting the interior of your of the house, You go to Home Depot, you get some paint, you get some rollers, you get some brushes, you get some tape, you get some drop cloths. You're all in for a few $100, and you can do it yourself. Okay, you can hire a couple of buddies, and they will do it with you. And so now you're in it for the cost of goods and a little bit of help. Okay, that's more expensive than doing it yourself. Or you can hire a professional, and that is you're going to pay for their cost of goods, and you're paying for their experience. They do this all the time, but it's a lot more expensive. So when you're thinking through your offer, what problem do you solve, and what level of partnership are you offering? Is it a do it yourself? Here, I'm putting together an ebook. You can buy it for $10 on Amazon, that kind of deal. Is it an online coaching course? Maybe someone pays $100, $200, $300 to watch some videos. Is it done for you? Are you physically on site solving a problem? So when you're thinking through your audience and you're thinking through your offer, this is what I want you to wrap your head around. Key number 3 is the marketing. And again, people are scared of this one. And I just want to say, I won't spend too much time on here, but I just want to say it's not as hard as you think it is. Some of us grew up in the days of door-to-door sales. I've done my share of that. In fact, first job I got out of high school was selling perfume knockoffs wherever I could sell it, out in the parking lot, going to a business, sell to the receptionist. You hear the word no 150 times a day, and but it's not like that today. Thanks to social media, thanks to online advertising, it's easier than ever to put your offer in front of the people who are already looking for what you have to offer. Okay, your audience, I promise you, your audience is online. We're just shy of 3 billion people on Facebook, 1.5 billion people on Instagram, over 1 billion people on TikTok. Your audience, I don't care if they're 19, 39, or 99, they are online. So, but this is one of the keys that you need to figure out when starting a digital side hustle. And then the 4th key are the tools. And again, you need a library of tools to help you build resources for your digital side hustle. Resources that are going to help you with marketing, with e-commerce, with social media, resources that are going to help you in the area of entrepreneurship. These tools are essential for anyone that's trying to build a digital side hustle while still doing their 9 to 5. And if you do it right, you can replace your 9 to 5. Okay, but you need tools that will help you learn. You need tools that will help you build. And that is what I'm going to offer to you right now. You see, once you figure out who your audience is, okay, remember that this is who you were 3 to 5 years ago. What they are going through right now, you've already been through. You are uniquely qualified to help them overcome what they're going through. And when you consider what your offer would be, and then when you learn how to get the word out about your offer, that's what you need. You still have to go and get the tools to do it. And so Flight Deck is offering 3 different programs. I'm only going to tell you about one of them right now. There's Flight Deck Solo. That's one-on-one coaching as needed. There's Flight Deck Echelon. That's an inner circle mastermind that I meet with, in person on a regular basis to help them with their already established small business. But this is the perfect entry-level option for someone that either wants to learn how to do a digital side hustle or simply needs the tools to build a digital side hustle. That's the Flight Deck Academy. The Flight Deck Academy is a membership site that gives you every course you would need to start an online business. So if you wanted to create a Shopify store to do drop shipping, I have a course for you on how to use Shopify. If you want to do marketing via TikTok, I have a course for you on how to use TikTok. If you want to learn how to build sales funnels, I have multiple courses for you to build sales funnels and membership sites. If you want to start a coaching business, I have a course for you on how to start a coaching business. So the Flight Deck Academy is a library of the courses that you would need to build your digital side hustle. And these are at your own pace. This is a do-it-yourself option, learning business, marketing, e-commerce, social media, entrepreneurship. Flight Deck Academy has a private coaching group on Facebook. There's going to be weekly check-ins from me or someone on the team. You can ask a question, get immediate help with building your digital side hustle. And then once a month, we're going to do live calls on Zoom where you can jump on and for 2 hours, work with either me or one of our coaches personally to build your business. And so that is what the Flight Deck Academy is all about. Again, it's one of our 3 programs. Very, very excited to launch this new one. I'd already had the solo program. I'd already had the Echelon program. This was the one that I was waiting to get started. And so now we are ready to go. You'll go to www.flightdeckcentral.com and you can sign up. It's $97 a month. You'll get an immediate email with your registration link, with your login link. And we are adding new resources all of the time, but you will see the basic list of all the tools that you would need. Now, here's the thing. Because we're just launching this, for the first 10 people that sign up today, I'm actually going to throw in a one-on-one coaching session with me. So the Flight Deck solo option, that's $1,000 per session. So for the first 10 people that sign up today, I'm actually going to throw in a one-on-one coaching session with me and help you get started quickly. So with that, if you've got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. I would love to answer questions before getting off of here. You all have been such an attentive audience. I keep getting notified about different people that are joining the webinar, and so is watching. So many of you are interacting with likes, and we've got some comments in here. But I do want to take a second and help you think through questions about your audience, your offer, marketing, and the tools necessary to get started. So, and by the way, if you are watching the replay of this, you can certainly drop a question at any time, and I will come back and answer. But if you have a question or a comment, of course, some of you have already left to go get signed up, and that's great too, because I get those notifications as well. But if you've got a question or a comment about the 4 keys to getting your digital side hustle started, you can go ahead and drop those at any time. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of Flight Deck Academy. God bless.